I want to give a very special thank you to each and every one of you that are supporting the channel and the content via Patreon and channel memberships. Your support is very much welcome, and I'm just incredibly grateful for what you do. What your support helps us continue to do in this channel is put out great quality reviews, interviews on the Casanova podcast, and so much more. Thank you for supporting, and if you're considering becoming a channel member or a Patreon, then the links are down in the description below. So it seems like it's coming full circle where we're getting, in modern day, all of the Mega Man series, being able to play them all on one platform, or many, depending on what your platform of choice is. If that's, you know, PC, if you're a PC Master Race, or PlayStation 4, or Xbox One, or Nintendo Switch, the fact of the matter remains that you're able to now play, well, almost all of the Mega Man titles. So we've got the Classic series, we've got the X series, and now the latest to release is the 0/ZX series. And what we're reviewing today is Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection. And I'm reviewing the Nintendo Switch version. It's also available for PS4, Xbox One, and also on Steam. And, you know, as someone who was around when Capcom transitioned away from the X series to the 0 series and then to the ZX series, it's kind of funny to see how things have changed, because we're now living in an era where people are actually loving and appreciating Mega Man versus the early 2000s, where it was rough being a Mega Man fan, because, you know, X5, then X6, then X7, which it came around with X8, but you also had a lot of Mega Man coming out at a time where we're transitioning away from Japanese IPs and more to Western IPs. So that's why it was kind of a rough period being a fan of the Blue Bomber. But regardless, it's back. Mega Man, you know, Capcom has listened, and if you can read the writing on the wall, these legacy collections are leading to something else. But with that being said, we're going to review that, and I am Miguela Casanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber, host of the #1 podcast in the state of Hawaii, the Casanova Podcast. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and all weekend, so hope to catch you there. And if you want to join our Discord, where we got an amazing group of ragtag outlaws, check the links down in the description below. Now, that being said, we're going to find out if Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection is worth your time and money. For me, I'm a Mega Man fan, so I'm already just going to say, you need this game. But you may not be. You may need some convincing. With this video, we're going to go into depth on if it's for you or if it's not. I'm biased, so I'm going to say you should go out and buy it. And I've got links down below with Amazon affiliate links if you want to pick it up. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, that being said, roll the intro.
The majority of the 21st century has been either a hit or miss for the Mega Man franchise. As from the 2000s to 2010, we had a plethora of Mega Man titles released from the Legend series, the EX, Star Force, and even the resurgence of the Classic series. But the X series was one that did not have the best time in the new century, with the decent Mega Man X5, an absolutely atrocious Mega Man X6, and even worse Mega Man X7, and then a return to form with Mega Man X8, and an evolution of the series with Command Mission. And yet, despite all this, people were not interested in the X series anymore. And also, Keiji Inafune, the director and creator of Mega Man, wanted to move forward with the franchise with the sequel series. He was able to make the second sequel series to the classic Mega Man series with Mega Man 0 debuting on the Game Boy Advance platform, which is set 100 years after the Mega Man X series, which was supposed to be a follow-up to Mega Man X5, which was the intended end to that series, but is set after Mega Man X8, starring Zero as the main character, exploring his story in more detail. And to be completely honest, the Mega Man 0 series acts as if Mega Man X6, 7, and 8 don't even exist. In 2006, we got the start of a new series with Mega Man ZX, although I view it personally as part of the Zero series and not its own. The ZX games utilize a lot of what the Zero games implemented, and by proxy what the X series innovated, but add a twist of making the Mega Man series transition into the Metroidvania genre and explore a world without the Blue Bomber. This series only got 2 entries and never caught on to the mainstream, and thus, honestly, the franchise went into a hiatus and was ignored by Capcom for quite a while until the Legacy Collection revitalization movement started and the interest in the franchise shot up. Is the Zero and ZX Legacy Collection worth picking up and playing on modern consoles and PC? Let's find out. Covering the story of the 2 series in this collection isn't very difficult, as the Zero series kicks off with Resistance members Seal and company running from Mega Man type of enemies. They eventually find a lab with a dormant and damaged Zero in a new body as well as a new art style instead of the X series style Zero. The gist of the story is an amnesiac Zero joins forces with the Resistance members to oppose the tyranny of Neo Arcadia, which is led by Mega Man X. Or so we're told, as Reploids are hunted down and deemed mavericks. We then transition from the fight against X to the series villain Dr. Veal, or Dr. Wile, or however you want to pronounce it. And no, this isn't Dr. Wily, this is another evil scientist, although it was a missed opportunity to not make him Dr. Wily and give some closure and backstory to Zero Saga. Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent are set 200 years after the end of Mega Man 04 in the year 25XX, and focuses on a new threat in the heroes Vent and Ale having the ability to mega merge with various biometals which have the souls of several series heroes like X and Zero in the forms of Mega Man Model X and Mega Man Model Z, to name a few. These models give you the appearance and abilities of X and Zero, as well as several other series Reploids, as you discover more, including the title named ZX model, combining the best of X and Zero's ability. Your goal in this series is to stop Slither Inc. and restore order to the world. Let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay of Mega Man 1 through 4 is heavily grounded in the gameplay style of the X series, and in some ways an evolution of that playstyle, but it is also slowly diverging itself into the Metroidvania genre. Not fully, but it's got a foot in that genre. You have a hub world or base in each game and ultimately can roam around and talk to the various Resistant members and Seal before deciding on a mission to go to. This in and of itself is a major departure from what the X and Classic series ever did, as in the other games you would just select a weapon master or a maverick to defeat and then it takes you to their level, whereas in this one you can travel to the level after talking to Seal and it can change between the 4 titles. The more open-ended nature of levels takes some getting used to, as for me, I am used to the games keeping me on a linear path leading me to the end, but you'll eventually acclimate to it after a bit. Given that this was originally a Game Boy Advance title, you have less buttons to worry about, as you have your jump button, shoot, dash, and your modifier button, which is used in conjunction with the shoot button to alternate between the Buster and the Saber. While I will prefer separate buttons for Saber and Buster, I am able to manage with the customization options, albeit limited, that you're given to work with. You're able to eventually collect chips for various buffs, which give any number of advantages, such as elemental properties to your attacks that are often the weaknesses of the bosses and guardians that you end up facing. Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent play virtually the same as the Zero games, however the differences are that you now have the biometal system, which allows you to use the Mega Merge feature to transfer into various characters for X, Zero, and the Guardians from the Zero series.
The other major difference is the full change of how you get to various levels, as these entries are the ones that went full on into the Metroidvania format, and to get to the levels requires you to go out and find your way to levels, which honestly, in my opinion, merges the Mega Man formula with the Metroidvania formula quite well. The newest addition that's really cool is the Z Chaser mode, which you race against the clock to complete a total of 12 stages against either the CPU or a friend locally or online. What's cool is that you can play locally in what's called the Double Chaser mode, which allows you and your friend to do some local couch co-op. If you want to take a step further, you can play online versus someone across the country or in another country in and of itself in the World Chaser mode. You can set the difficulty to normal or hard and jump into this mode to try your hand at placing in the world rankings. Like all Legacy Collection titles in the Mega Man series, this entry gives you the choice of playing the game in its original mode or with the newly added Save Assist, which allows you to pick up where you left off at the various save point checkpoints that you pass as you progress along in the game, which will help curb the difficulty of the games by a large margin. I also like the gallery mode, which gives you not only background on the games and characters, but also official release and unreleased artwork. Now, graphically, the games all look good, but it is noticeable that these were originally both Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS titles, as when you compare them side by side to the PlayStation era of Mega Man X4 through 6, and Mega Man 8, they just honestly don't look anywhere near as good. But when paired to the earlier entries of the X series, being X1 through 3, they do look like an upgraded version of those games. The animations are not on the same level as the later entries in the X series, so you won't see the subtle animations and attention to detail in the characters like you would with X or Zero. Yes, they have idle motions, but there's certain little intricacies that they had in the PlayStation era of X titles that they don't have going forward. And if we're being completely honest, Zero, Vent, AO, Ash, and all the characters do look pretty amazing in this new art style, which is moving away from the shonen style of the X series. It does complement it, and by looking decidedly more realistic with its more humanistic depictions of the Reploids. This lasts all the way until the ZX games, which straddle the lines of the art style of the X and the Zero series in promotional art, but in gameplay style it looks exactly the same as the Zero series. The ZX games are much more vibrant and colorful than the Zero games and have some smoother animations and better sprite work than the Zero games do. The ZX games also get English voice acting and animated cutscenes in higher resolutions than when they were originally released on the Nintendo DS, which looks sharp on both the Switch docked and undocked, as well as on the Switch Lite. There are various filters to either sharpen and enhance the graphics of each title, or for the purists, you can add filters that allow you to see all the glorious pixelizations, as well as change the aspect ratios of the background wallpapers as well. When playing the ZX games, you have the option of changing the layout of the screen to acclimate to how they incorporate the original DS version's lower screen by either putting it to the lower right or lower left side of the screen, right underneath with the normal game stacked on top of it, or overlaid on top of the game as you play. Many may like this feature and the customization that Capcom gives you with it. Now, we gotta talk about the sound. Every aspect of the audio in this Legacy collection has been given a substantial leap in quality, from the OST to the voice acting. The level of clarity is possible because of the platforms that it is releasing on, as both the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS were not the best when it came to quality audio. My favorite theme throughout this entire collection is Departure from Mega Man 02. It sounds so good, and it's just crisp and clear, and each riff and synth sound just sounds absolutely amazing. The included music player is incredibly awesome, as you can just play the amazing soundtrack for hours on end in its higher quality glory. We've talked about just about everything but the downside, so let's go ahead and dive into that. The downsides solely lie with ZX and ZX Advent because of how they decided to go with the screen layout, making the gameplay screen appear off center as it's off to the side slightly, just to incorporate what was used to showcase the DS's original lower screen, which is compacted and moved to a portion of the screen with wallpaper art covering it. I honestly just don't like this and wish that they retool the bottom half to something else, as the layout as it is makes me think of when streamers emulate DS and 3DS games, honestly. Some may feel that the Zero games, and especially the ZX games, to be incredibly difficult. However, with any Mega Man title, all you need to do is learn the patterns of the enemies and you'll be fine. Trial and error, people, as honestly the games are much better balanced now than when they were released, and even when they were released in the 2010 Zero collection. Now we're gonna get to the wrap up, tie it up, put a bow on top, make it look pretty. And honestly, with 6 classic entries, the Z Chaser and Double Chaser and World Chaser modes, online ranking system, and local and online play, significantly improved audio and visuals, better balancing, and being released in a time when the titles can be appreciated in their entirety on all major platforms for only $29.99 at the time of this review. Honestly, the Mega Man Zero and ZX Legacy Collection is simply a must own if you are a fan of the Blue Bomber and are looking for a series of quality titles that will keep you engaged for dozens upon dozens of hours. Capcom is continuing to knock it out of the park with these re-releases of the Mega Man franchise, which makes it obvious that the next series entries would either be the Legend series and potentially the Battle Network and Star Force series, with a hope that all this is leading to new entries in each of the series, just as we got with Mega Man 11 in the classic series.
Alright, and that's it. That's the review for Mega Man Zero/ZX Legacy Collection. I've got it for the Nintendo Switch, which is what the review is from. And with all the additional things from, you know, the Z Chaser mode to the screen filters, the up resolution of the graphics, the better audio, the English voice acting being so much better in ZX Advent and ZX, it's just, it's a really complete package. I know a lot of people consider Mega Man Zero and Mega Man ZX to be 2 separate franchises in the sense of, you know, this is the Z series and ZX series. I combine them technically into one because I see them as one continued story. But whichever way, I'm glad we have it. It is great being able to play it now, and I think you guys would enjoy it. If you're a fan of the Blue Bomber, it's definitely a great collection to pick up. And, you know, the only thing I can think of is it's just leaning towards a new entry, and I think, you know, if anything, we're probably gonna get a Legacy collection for the Battle Network series, and the only other one that's left that they haven't gone through, well, if you think about it, Battle Network and then Star Force in one, technically one series, or 2 franchises that technically one's a sequel to the other. I see that coming, like a Battle Network / Star Force collection. And then the last that they need to do is the Legend series. Now, there are some offshoot games that I kind of wonder weren't included in the Mega Man Legacy collection, the original, that were included in the Mega Man Anniversary collection. I don't know, but hopefully they will port those because those games are available on the Capcom Home Arcade, or at least one of them is, and I would love to see them added to the collections. But whichever way, what are your thoughts? You guys enjoy this review? Do you enjoy me ramble on? And with that being said, leave a like if you do, thumbs down if you don't, whatever you feel, hey, doesn't matter. And if you're new and you haven't already, hit the subscribe button if you want to join our ragtag group of misfits in our Discord group. Links are down below. If you want to pick up the game, links are also down there too. And with that being said, Miguela Casanova, I'm signing out. I hope you guys have a good one. I'm done rambling. I promise I'll shut up now. Too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. And since you made it here, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it. You can always check out MiguelaCasanova.com. If you want to support the content, we've got Patreon, as well as channel memberships and super chats. And with that being said, this is Miguela Casanova. I enjoy you guys. I hope you have a great one. Mahalo, and see you next time.